the front desk envelope at 1:17 a.m. The keycard inside wasn't for me. I'm not jealous of bodies. I'm jealous of signatures. Bodies tell the truth if you stop staging them. Signatures decide which truth gets to arrive. At 1:17 a.m., I lifted the lid of our mailbox in the lobby and found a small cream envelope with the hotel crest pressed into its mouth like a secret that never learned to whisper. The concierge had misdelivered it, our address on the sticker, the Miradore's stamp on the flap, the handwriting of someone who's trained to be beautiful even while being wrong. Inside was a keycard sleeve with a tidy room number written in fountain pen. 1906. For Theo, the note said, waiting upstairs. S. Theo had texted at 10:42. Bored, wants one more drink. Don't wait up. He handles donors the way a bartender handles ice, competently, pretending not to mind the cold. At 7:05 I had filmed the coffee rising because ritual is cheaper than religion and remembers to show up. I captioned it here. He reacted with the thumbs up he keeps for hours that plan to rename themselves. I hadn't waited on the couch. I'd come downstairs because sleep sometimes wants stairs. The envelope in my hand learned the weight of a verdict as I climbed back into our building. I set the keycard on our kitchen table like a polite accusation. The apartment had the posture rooms get when they've rehearsed a story without you. The radiator breathed like an amateur chorus. The hallway practiced neutrality. I boiled water because water doesn't audition. It simply becomes itself. At 3:03 the lock cleared its throat. Theo stepped in with his tie loosened and his shoes hooked by two fingers like witnesses too tired to lie. He kissed the air near my cheek, our administrative truce, and saw the envelope before he saw me. His pupils turned into clocks, the small dilation that arrives right before he chooses a verb. You went for a walk, he said, as if that could make the handwriting on the flap belong to somebody else's night. The Mirador is efficient, I said. They forwarded your evening to our mailbox. Room 1906, for Theo, waiting upstairs. S. He put both palms flat on the table the way our therapist taught us when we needed to give words somewhere to land. The gesture is either dignity or triage. Which question? He asked. Why or who? Why, I said, because Matt, my emergency adult, kicks me under imaginary tables when I start with names. If I start with who, the hotel gets to write our minutes. Theo looked at the patch of wall where the paint keeps wanting to retire without ceremony. Because the part wasn't coming, he said. Because donors clapped in the wrong places and wanted to be forgiven with gin. Because Soren, the intimacy director, told the board he could guarantee the kiss didn't embarrass them, and then told me the roof can teach a mouth to be brave. Because I let the night speak for me and didn't stop it until the pen touched paper. Did you kiss him? I asked, breaking Matt's superstition like a boy with a stick and a fence. Theo's mouth made the shape I collect for truth. In the elevator once, he said, small and honest and wrong. I stopped because I prefer being brave at home. I hate how sane that sounds, I said, which is the sentence I use when mercy shows up before I find the tone to hold it. We didn't sleep. We did something more humiliating and useful. We agreed to go to the Mirador at noon when cities pretend to be merciful. The lobby smelled like citrus that had learned to whisper. The woman at the desk had a cathedral's poise. We're so sorry for the mix-up last night, she said when I showed her the envelope. Our night porter brought it down when the guest asked for it held. It seems we misunderstood. Her apology knew how to keep a room from choosing a side. Soren was already on the roof, looking like a photograph that had decided to perform humility. He saw us both and didn't pretend surprise, my favorite trick in men who owe a room honesty. I was coming to apologize, he said, to you and to the part of this building that mistakes bravery for glass. He offered his hands the way good predators do when they mean to prove they have sheathed everything worth counting. He loves you, Soren added to me. I like being near that. I'm sorry my job uses the same grammar as desire. You don't get to call it our grammar, I said, because cleverness is my superstition and I tithe when I'm anxious. Rehearsal is a room, a kiss is a scene, a key is a noun. You don't get to be the verb in our kitchen. Theo didn't look at Soren. He looked at me with the exact weight of a man deciding which door deserves his mouth. I want open windows, he said, not open doors. We left with nothing more dramatic than the river trying to volunteer absolution. At home, I moved the kitchen chair into the middle of the floor because procedures save men when gods won't. Theo smiled like a man relieved to be caught kindly. He came around the table and paused, always that pause, his most decent habit. I met him halfway. The first kiss was apology without speeches. The second had his fingers under my shirt and my hand at the back of his neck, the spot he keeps for oaths and sleep. We didn't perform a ceremony. We used heat as a system. If I could draw you the rest without getting evicted by an algorithm that prefers virtue louder than accuracy, I would. You can have breath that belonged to both of us, a belt resigning with grace, a palm pinning a wrist as proof we remembered to ask. The city prefers quizzes. 2 nights later, the Mirador's social account posted a carousel at 1:41 a.m. Hand saw light in a mirrored hallway, 4 bodies if you counted reflections. Theo washing his hands, head down. Soren behind him, tie undone. A stranger passing like a rumor. Me in the doorway because whoever posted had tagged my name. The caption said boys being brave. Comments did what comments do. I typed nothing. I turned the phone face down. I put the chair in the middle of the kitchen and sat until I could laugh. Theo came home and handed me his phone without instructions. Delete or archive, he said. I don't want new grammar. You don't need me to erase your verbs, I said. He rested his forehead against mine like a paperweight on a better draft. 3 days later, the email arrived with fonts that have never had to apologize to a kitchen. Residency, 7 days, quiet rooms, kind windows. Theo forwarded the PDF with every map attached, which is how you know a man has learned where courage keeps its receipts. I want to go without disappearing, he wrote. I'll send pages, not alibis. When I get back, ask me what I wrote before what I did. I taped 2 lines under the rubber orange magnet because props still save us when God is off shift. Addresses in the open. A good night here voice note every day. He added a third in his careful mess. If an I can't is coming, it happens where both of us are. Night 1, wind and a sentence I decided to believe. Today the table forgave me. Night 3, nothing, and my thumb was the worst teenager in the world. I opened the hotel's website against my will and watched the booking grid glow like a brand. I moved the chair instead. At 8:12, he called with a voice that made the kettle think there might be a god. I almost kissed a window, he said. It didn't know your name. I closed the blinds. He came back with a suitcase that didn't slam and 2 pages he treated like animals. They're not good, he said. They're mine, I said, and we performed our small religion. Paper, kettle, a room that knows it isn't a lobby. He slid his hands under my shirt from behind, slower than contrition, faster than nostalgia. Here, he said into the bend of my neck, which is the only word left that has never demanded witnesses. We tried boring. We failed gracefully. We tried again. Soren learned to stand at the back of the house with his arms crossed like a man paying the bill he owes himself. He clapped exactly once after the kiss on preview night. He didn't text. Neither did we. The Mirador kept its antlers and its very good lighting. The envelope lived in a drawer by the radiator with the other relics that taught us how to read nights for what they actually said. One more test. The world is thorough when it thinks you've studied. At 12:03 a.m., the concierge left a voicemail with the professionalism of a violin bow. Calling to confirm tomorrow's turndown and the extra key for 1906, the guest asked us to hold it under your partner's name. I moved the chair. Theo came home at 1:18 with a sentence ready and his hands empty. I walked him to the elevator, he said. He kissed the hallway goodnight. I kissed the button good decision. Do you want to hate me now or later? I prefer now. I like the way you come back from it. I'm tired of coming back, I said. I want to stay. He touched my jaw with 2 fingers, the intimacy director's sacrament repurposed for domestic faith, and for once the gesture belonged exactly where it landed. We went to bed without performing an essay on forgiveness. We used our mouths the way men do who still prefer heat to cleverness. The room did not applaud. It didn't need to. Weeks alter even honest bruises. The concierge still remembers how to pronounce our names. The rooftop still thinks the river knows how to forgive. The envelope still cools in the drawer like a lesson trying to be a tool. If another night offers me a polite key with the wrong door attached, or a window that wants to practice absolution, or a hand on a back that isn't mine easing a man toward a script that refuses to be neutral, I hope I remember the handful of humiliating, useful acts that got us through this one. Put water on. Move the chair when words try to riot. Ask why before who. Hold the breath before contact and let it finish being the scene. Then wait for the lock's small throat clearing, like it's the first note in a song we can still tune to. We didn't get away with anything. We stayed. We are still staying. When Theo says here, my body has stopped auditioning for suspicion. The keycard can keep its opinions. The river can keep its absolutions. The terrace can keep its glass. We'll keep being the address, or, on the nights we can't, we'll be the map that admits its misprints and still shows the way back. Past the lobby that thinks it's a verb, past the elevator eye that loves its own memory, into a kitchen where a chair knows what it's for, a kettle sings at 7:05, and 2 hands that have done worse learn again how to touch without asking the night to edit.